So we're going to take a look at here today, guys, just how we play man down against a couple of different sets as we go through this. So we're going to start out just looking at man down versus a 3-3. So in this situation, ball is here over with our attackman. All right, D3 is covering the ball. Our D midi is going to play this kind of zone here. D2 strings out to here. D1 comes up to this corner. D4 is kind of responsible for this guy on the backside. The important thing right now is our positioning. So D3 is going to approach to the shooter's top side. So as he comes out, he's coming to here, which is going to be above that guy's hands when he shoots. So he's going to be the top side of the shooter. The other thing is we have our D midi here in this passing lane. Okay, he's going to be able to pick off any passes that come through there, and that's the key to his positioning as we get into that spot, is that he's in there to deter the passes. What that allows is for D2, who is stringing out to this guy, to be pretty low in this spot. It also allows D1 to be really sucked in, helping on the crease. The same thing with D4. Okay, by taking away this quick pass and making them move sequentially from this guy to this guy to this guy, it opens up the opportunity for us to rotate easier than doing what we might have to do if we threw a skip in there. Okay, if the ball moves up top, we start to see we get a retreat from D3 coming in, so he's going to have stick up and in here, which is going to help deter a pass to the crease. D2 is going to have a stick up and in to this area, which is really deterring this really far skip here. It's a risky pass, but they might throw it if we don't have a stick up right there. D1 also stick up into the inside to deter this pass, but is also shading down into the crease here. And then D4, again, it's kind of watching the crease guy. Depending on the location of this crease man, if he's higher, D1's going to take him. If he's lower, D4 is probably going to take him. That's what we have. Okay, D midi obviously is going to approach up here to this top side, take away that. Likely on this side, guys, we probably have lefty shooters. So that's where we go position-wise for there. Now, when the ball's up at the point, we really have to have D4 and D3 in on the crease. We really want sticks in on this guy here. The reason we can do that is because we should be able to take away these passing lanes here and here by our D midi and D1 in those spots. Okay. If we can get our D midi and D1 in those appropriate locations, it takes away the ability for the skip, which allows this crease pinch to occur. All right. The one thing, guys, that we sometimes struggle with is if we get some sort of rotation. So let's imagine that the ball is up here with this midfielder. If there's a rotation where this guy comes, this guy pushes to the crease, this is kind of a typical four-man rotation out of this. Okay, as these guys spin like this, a lot of times you get, a little throwback to this guy, and they try to throw back against the wheel. To correspond to this, what we have to do is D1, who'd be playing the ball here, is going to have to ride with this guy up until the point where he can pass into D2. D2 is going to ride these guys down towards the crease until D4 and D3 can come in and accept that. At that point in time, D2 is relieved at that spot. He pops up to take this. D1 is just going to fill pretty much back into the spot where he is, and that will allow us to then bounce back out to approach there if the ball goes there. It then allows D4 to release. D midi is going to come in to help out, and we get that kind of rotation going. Okay? All right, so now taking a look at this against a 1-4-1, we have a similar setup here. Now, in this situation, we're pretty much running dice. We have a D midi that's going to be locked. This may be a temporary lock. We may not keep that guy there because if they peel somebody out, we'd like to go back into our 5. But the same thing is happening here. D3 is coming top side to this. D midi is going to be in front of the ball side crease guy. So whoever the closest guy on the crease is to the ball, that's where he's going. D4 is coming here, sticking the inside. D2, same thing, kind of makes a little box for the crease, so the crease can't get too wide. And D1, being the far backside, is going to be in here on the crease. Okay, D4, D2, they're also partially responsible for a skip pass to get through to here, so they've got to take that away. But that's how we play this thing out. Most of the time, you're not going to see much action where they're trying to feed directly across this. They're going to set this up to wheel somebody off and into another play. So now if we get the ball moving up top, D2 is going to approach. D3 and D1 are in. D4 is going to watch the crease. D3 and D1 are important to be in because if the attackman here sneaks either side, these guys have to be responsible for knocking that pass down. D mid, again, is going to be ball side of the crease. So this time it's the high midi. He's going to be up here between him and the ball. All right, which allows him to basically take this guy out of the equation. And our D4 and D1 are going to share, or pretty much D4 is going to take responsibility for this attackman unless he drifts really far or something like that. Then we might have to move this. But that's pretty much what we got out of this. All right, now if we go back here and we see this guy carry, okay, so if he's going to carry over, what's normally going to happen is we rotate a guy up and rotate one off the crease. Okay, so they're changing formation on us. So if they do that and we end up something like this, all we're going to do is now we still have everybody basically in their same responsibilities. D2 was on the ball. D3 was out here. D1 was watching this guy who was in the corner. We all rotate with those guys. All that happens now is D mid is just going to leak out the backside with that guy that was on the crease. Okay, so now we all spoke out, and if we were to spoke out to guys, we'd go to here, we'd go to here, we'd go to here, 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 and we just help in on the backside off of the crease. So that's kind of what that's going to look like as that happens. And as the ball swings, we're just going to spoke out to those guys. We're not going to play the guy at X, but we'll meet him just a step below GLE on either side. If he, starts pushing the ball, we go there. The reason we have this guy dedicated to this spot is because it makes it so we don't have to rotate. So if the guy, starts here, takes the ball this way, D4 would be over here, meet him here. That allows D3 to stay home, allows D2 to stay home, and all we have is just a pinch on the backside. We get these guys in. All right. Now, 1-3-2 is similar to what we just saw. So the same thing, basic kind of setup we saw here. We have D mid on ball, again, approaching to the shooter's top hand. Again, usually a lefty in this spot. It's not actually a great spot for a righty because the only real good catch he's going to get is coming up from here. D4 is the furthest guy away, is guarding this guy, but he's in on the crease. D1 is also pinching on the crease. D3 and D2 are in. D2 is especially in on this passing lane to make sure that the ball is not going to get through here. Okay, we don't want that one happening, so that's where he's going to knock that down. D3 is in. He's going to help out D4 by kind of watching this backside. So if there's a sneak here, he can pick that pass off right there. Okay. If they get a rotation now where they've pushed from X, so if we go back and show you kind of what this is going to look like as these guys move, this guy's going to come here, this guy's going to push up backside, this guy's going to curl around. It's the same sort of movement that we saw in the 1-4-1, now with only a single crease. Now they're pulling up that guy from X. So now they're in more of a 3-3. All of our assignments basically stay the same, guys. We just need to identify this. So all we do is we mark up, so the ball would be here. If the ball's there, D2 would be a 1, meaning adjacent. So if the ball swings, he comes out to this guy. That would make D1 a 1. He would then swing to this guy as the ball comes there. And then D4, instead of being responsible for the crease, and the guy over here is just going to peel out to that spot. So as the ball rotates, that's where your counter rotation is going to end up going to as you spin that around. And then if they spin the ball back, we just kind of slough in, slough out, depending on their rotation there. Okay. Highly unlikely, guys, they're going to run anything out of an open. But if they do, all we have to do is basically just match up as they go. So if the ball's here, we spoke to this. The ball moves to this spot. We spoke to here. It moves to this spot. We spoke to here. moves to this spot, we spoke to here, moves to this spot, we spoke to here. And then if they go to the last guy here, all we have to do is rotate. Okay. Now the rotation, guys, should be fairly simple as we are going to get in off ball each time. So as you know, these two guys over here have the ball, our D mid is already going to be down in this area. So this spoke out to the midi is not going to be very hard. It's actually going to be a normal approach for him because we've already kind of pre-rotated as the ball moves around. So we just have to make sure we're aware of that thing. The only other thing, guys, to note on this is we need to communicate. As long as you call a 1 and a 2, you should be fine because that's going to tell us what's going to happen. So if we do this, D2 right now is a 1, D3 is a 1, D4 is a 2, D1 is a 2. The ball's up here. If the ball moves in your direction as a 1, that means you are then going to be the on-ball player, okay? And every single time that happens, we adjust that. So now this guy would be, the ball's here. This guy would be ball. We have 1, 1, 2, and 2. So we know if the ball moves one more, that the 1 has the ball, okay? Hopefully this clears up some of the questions we had. If you guys have any other questions, just let me know.